Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Tuesday, April 21st. This is episode number 344. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me tonight is my brother, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Well, it's good, Rod. We're finally here. The week that everything's been leading up to since the Browns traded Joe Flacco.
That's right. Yeah, Joe who? Yeah. Yeah, that's been a long time ago. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, we knew then that the season wasn't going to matter, so the only
Right.
thing we had left to look forward to was the draft, right?
You're right. Yeah, yeah. So here to help us tonight is Jake Gerard, and Jake is a good friend of my son Alex's, and I've gotten to know Jake a little bit over the years. And Jake is a guy who loves the draft, and we've been talking about having him on the podcast for a while. So I'm very happy to have you, Jake, and to finally get a chance to talk some draft.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So I guess just to start things out, Jake, let's just go to you and kind of get your thoughts on this draft class. And I guess we should say, first of all, just so everybody knows, you're not a Browns fan, and that's okay, because a lot of the draft people we have on are not, Browns fans. They're more into the draft, so it's cool. But we're going to talk Browns primarily, and some other things. So how do you see this draft class? What do you like about it? What's unique about it? Things like that.
So this draft class to me isn't as strong in rounds 2 through 4 as other drafts usually are. I still think there's some elite top end talent. And I think the Browns having 2 first-round picks is amazing this year. I think if you're going to have 2 first-round picks, this is the year to do it, given how much I am not a fan of rounds 2 through 4, really. I think this is also a positional draft. I think, for example, wide receiver is a position that is incredibly deep in this draft. And I have the opinion tackle is also a very deep position in this draft. It's a good year to need both of those if you're the Browns. I do think also that because it is a positional draft, players who play at positions that are not as deep are going to get taken early, safety being the best example of that. We'll probably see 3 safeties in the first round, 1 safety in the second round, and maybe 1 more safety until Saturday. So I do believe that top-end talent at certain position groups of needs for teams, we'll see some reaches for sure.
Yeah, we just hope it's not, by our team.
Oh, never.
Or, we know the Raiders don't reach.
Oh, they never reach.
Never, ever. I have a signed Jamarcus Russell rookie patch card that would say differently. So
yeah. Yeah. So guys, before we really get into this, I guess kind of the news of the week, I mean, other than 5,000 mocks and, and all that stuff going on and everybody guessing what trades are going to take place is the trade that happened between the Giants and the Bengals, where the Bengals sent the 10th pick to the Giants for Dexter Lawrence. I'm not too worried about, what that does for the Bengals. I'm more thinking, from a draft perspective, what that does, for the Giants and how that can affect the Browns. With the Giants having picks 5 and 10, does that change the way they look at that 5th pick, because they're going to be able to grab another guy at 10. I don't know. What do you think, Jeff? What's your initial thought on that?
It just to finish the thought on the Bengals before I get to that, Rod, they immediately signed Dexter Lawrence to a 1-year, $28 million extension, which is about the second most Bengals thing that they've done this week.
1 year? I didn't
1 year, yeah, 1 year. Yeah, typically when we pick up somebody, we give them a 2 or 3 year extension, right? Well, they gave them a 1 year extension.
So you give up the 10th pick in the draft and you lock the guy up for a season.
For a guy you have locked up for two seasons, yeah.
2 seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Bengals. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it shocked me. the trade. I never would have guessed that the Bengals would give up the 10th pick for a 28-year-old. It sort of indicates to me that the Bengals think that there's an opportunity for them this year, and they're going to try to win the division. So they needed to fix their defense, and this is kind of a panic move to be able to do that. It definitely legitimizes their defensive line, but I don't know if they're going to be able to stop much else. So I don't know. I as far as the draft goes, the Giants they're in a great spot, knowing that they're going to come out of this with two of the premier players in the draft. Because, like you said, Jake, this draft drops off pretty quick in terms of elite talent. So having two picks in the first 10 is a really great spot to be in. They're going to end up with two of those elite guys.
Yeah.
I also think that I said when the Bengals signed Boye Mafe in free agency that this is a team that wants to win now. You're signing veteran players, and you're allocating a lot of money on offense, and that's why I wasn't a big fan of getting rid of the 10th pick for Dexter Lawrence, just because you're kind of going to need lower volume contracts to build a winning roster. In the grand scheme of things, I don't know how the trade is going to look until pick 9 on Thursday. Until I can see who's there at 10 and say, hey, you made a good decision getting out of this pick because you were probably going to trade down anyway. That's when I'm going to know whether I really like it or not. But for now, I'm not a huge fan of it for the Bengals. And like you said, does solidify the inside of their defense. You have positions on that defense that still need filled out, and you don't have a lot of picks to do it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate this draft. I could see a trade-up opportunity from them on day 2.
He might be as big as two guys, but he's still just one guy.
Yeah. Who led the league in pressures as a nose tackle for like 6 years straight. So.
I mean, he's a great player, but Well, this is a Browns podcast, so we'll cut the Bengals talk, but appreciate the thoughts there, guys. We'll come back a little bit, I think, to where the Giants stand as we talk about some other things. But I guess I almost just want to start this off with our dueling mocks just for fun, because this will kind of launch some other conversation. So the three of us, and I know Jeff didn't even have to write his down. He's just got his in his head. I wrote mine down. I kind of looked and tried to not just go the easy route here, thinking maybe some things will fall a certain way or something. So, and Jake, I assume you've got yours ready through 107. Have you had a chance to kind of write that down? So, or you have it in your head, whatever works for you. So, how do you guys want to do this? You want to just go one pick at a time?
Yeah, let's do it one pick at a time.
Okay. Well, Jake, you're the guest. We usually let the guest go first on a lot of things here. So why don't we let you unveil your pick for the Browns at 6?
So I have been screaming one of two names for the Browns at pick 6. I'm a Jordan Tyson believer through and through. The injury-prone conversation is centered around one injury, and his workout on Tuesday changed a lot of perceptions. So we heard that he was going to fall to the bottom of the first round, and now we feel he could be back up in the top 10. And this is what's dangerous about the Giants having 2 first-round picks, is they might feel like they can gamble on one of them. And if they can gamble on pick 5 and take Jordan Tyson out of the hands of the Browns, that could be a scary thing, because I would love to see Jordan Tyson available at 6. I know it's a gamble. If you wanted a safer pick, I have also been on record saying that if Francis Mauigoa is available at 6, you sprint the card in. I'm a big fan. I do think he can play tackle. I know he came in with some shorter arms, and a lot of people love his flexibility to guard. But the common theme of Browns' first-round mock drafts is getting a wide receiver and a tackle at 6 and 24, regardless of what angle you do it from. And if Jordan Tyson and Mauigoa are there, it depends on whether you want to play it safe or whether you want to go for the long ball, because I do think Jordan Tyson is a generational wide receiver, and if he never had that injury, we'd be in talk probably at pick 2 to the Jets. So I'm going to say for this mock, I'm going I'm going to gamble and say if Jordan Tyson's there, I would take Jordan Tyson.
Okay. So far, so good. Jeff.
Well, for me, that's absolute best case scenario because I don't want Jordan Tyson. I want Carnell Tate. And I'm most worried about the Giants taking Carnell Tate right now. So, yeah, if they go ahead and take Jordan Tyson, I'm going to select Carnell Tate. As much as I feel like a tackle is important to us, I just don't see a tackle in this draft that gives us enough to take with pick number 6. We have a right tackle under contract right now. CC Mawanoa also has a herniated disc, which may or may not be a problem. At least at some point, he's going to need some back surgery. So, you say what you want about whether Tyson actually does have an injury problem. We know that Mawanoa has an injury problem. So I'm going to stay away from both of those guys just because of that. We have enough bad luck in Cleveland without purposefully taking guys that we already know are scratch and dent.
Can I ask you a question, Jeff?
Yeah.
I want to know your overall thoughts on Carnell Tate. I am a lot lower on Carnell Tate than a lot of people. He's my wide receiver 4. And I think that he's a very safe pick. I just don't see the superstar. I don't see the top 6 selection receiver that people are seeing.
So I think safe is a good word, Jake. You have to couch my perspective on Carnell Tate from 2 angles. Number one, I'm a big Ohio State fan, so I saw him play a lot. Okay. But also because I've been a Browns fan most of my life, and that's a very long time in most people's vision. We've never had a true number 1. I mean, nothing that has long-term been a number 1 since, the 1940s. So while you could say, Carnell Tate may not be a superstar and he may not even be the best wide receiver to come out of Ohio State in the last 5 or 6 years, or maybe not even in the top 5. For us, he's definitely a game changer. And, I just like the idea of knowing what we're getting with him. And, there's only so many balls to go around, right? So he fills a huge need for us. And I think we can just sort of forget about the X receiver or however they plan to utilize him for a very long time. And that's something we haven't been able to say. It's the second biggest problem in our franchise other than quarterback.
That's fair. Yeah. I totally see the safe perspective of it. And I think that he's a really good ball player. It's no shade towards Carnell Tate whatsoever. I think that it's when I think about the Browns, I think that safe is the right option. I'm just more obsessed with what other receivers could be, I guess, is the reason why I asked that question.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, there's probably more topside with the other guys that you like, right? Mm-hmm. I see concerns with all those guys as well. And I just don't see the concerns with Carnell Tate. I know exactly what I'm getting with him. And if I'm a head coach with maybe 1 year to prove something, I want to know exactly what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm. Monken's going to love him.
Yep. Yeah. He's on record that he already does.
I believe that.
Well, Jeff's kind of blown up my mock already with his last comments, but I'm going to go with it anyways here, guys. So, I kind of went the direction of feeling like the two pass rushers and Love and Tate are going to be gone, kind of leaving the Browns with a choice of Tyson, Bain, Styles, and Mawanoa. And I picked Mawanoa just thinking that, the Browns really do need help on this offensive line for the future. So maybe those injury concerns are enough to deter him from doing that, Jeff. But if it falls that way, they're going to have a tough choice because I could just as easily go Ruben Bain. That guy's a monster. He could definitely help this team, especially if they actually end up trading Miles at some point over the next, 6 months, or not 6 months, the next year or two.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting. So, but I kind of feel like that could be the spot the Browns are on. That's kind of what I feel like is going to happen before them, which means that's probably not what's going to happen. So,
you guys think there's any possibilities they try to get out of the pick if the board does fall that way?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think so.
Worst case scenario, that we're sitting there and there's nobody that the Browns really want to draft at 6. They're definitely. I mean, they're already open for business right now. So there's a good chance that happens.
I heard some people talking today, and it kind of makes sense that if there are 2 players the Giants like, the Giants now may want to move back up to 6 too, and go back to back 5-6. I don't know what that would net the Browns dropping from 6 to 10. If that would give them a second or a third, or what that would do. But I'd feel a lot more comfortable just going with one of the top offensive linemen at the 10 to 12 range. At 6, I mean, I know it's only a few picks, but you really feel like you got to have an impact guy, more of an impact guy, and then a guy who's just going to come in and be a good, solid player. So, so let's go on to 24. You guys want to keep the same rotation or mix it up?
Same rotation's fine.
Okay.
This pick was hard for me because the player that I'm gonna take here, I genuinely believe could go earlier than this. I'm not gonna say for sure that he will go earlier than this, but I think it's possible because I could see NFL teams loving him, and that's Maxi Onacher out of Arizona State. The tackle, we're talking about a huge dude that moves super well, just not a ton of experience playing the sport. But when you have that type of athlete who's that big, and I took Jordan Tyson at 6, and now we're looking to address the offensive line, and we're talking about getting our best 6 in there. If we're confident in our own line coach, then Maxi Onacher would be where I would probably go here. He kind of reminds me, and this isn't me putting my Raiders helmet on. This was prior to my my Raiders love, but he reminds me of Colton Miller. Colton Miller, coming out of UCLA, was not very polished, but an incredibly freaky athlete for his size. And the Raiders gambled on that, and it worked. And so I do believe I could see the same success with Maxi Onacher for the Browns.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
look, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with any of the offensive line help. I mean, I'm all about us getting whatever offensive line help we can get out of this draft for sure. I'm just not as convinced that there's an urgency to do it in this draft. I mean, I've been talking for really the whole past season about how this draft has a lot of offensive linemen who are not day one starters. And it's going to take some time for them to evolve right into a role. Ihanacher, I have a hard time saying his name, is probably one of those guys that could start day one. But again, we have a right tackle under contract. Maybe we slide him inside. I don't know. But I'm just not a fan of the right to left argument either. So I'm going to stay away from tackle at 24 unless somebody drops that I'm really in love with. I mean, if by some miracle Monroe Freeling is there, I'm probably going to run to the podium and draft Monroe Freeling, right? But I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think realistically, the best players on the board are still going to be defensive players. And just piggybacking on what you said earlier, Rod, about the it's almost feeling like an inevitability now that we're going to move on from Myles Garrett at some point. Right.
Yeah.
So why not, if a guy like Zion Young is there at 24, why not just go ahead and bring him in and give him some time to percolate behind Myles until that move is made. And now you got a guy who's going to be almost as dominant. Right. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that Zion Young is there at 24, and I'm going to give my defense another boost.
Okay.
That's an awesome pick, Jeff. He's actually on my guys list. So
on-
I'm a big,
love him.
big Zion
He's on
Young
Jeff's
fan.
guys list too,
Yep, big Zion Young fan.
as you can tell. So guys, so I was the only one that didn't go receiver at 6. So so I'm coming back at 24 with Denzel Boston, which some people probably see as a little bit of a reach, but I'm thinking there might be if you don't take him there, by the time you get to 39, you
He's
might
probably
not have.
gone.
Yeah, he's probably gone, and
Yeah.
you might not be getting the guy that can try to be a number 1 for you. So, so I think it's worth, maybe going a few picks early to get your receiver there.
Yeah,
I think that's a totally workable plan B, Rod, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time I don't take Carnell Tate, I look for Denzel Boston at 24. Once in a while he's there at 39, but I wouldn't count on it. I agree.
Yeah, there's runs right around in there. I mean, when you sum it, but there's only going to be one shot at this. So yeah, you kind of got to do what you got to do too. You don't want to reach, but you don't want to be left in the cold at the one spot that you really, really need something out of this draft. So
you can't operate in hindsight.
No. So let's move on to pick 39, guys.
There's a lot of routes that I think this pick could go, and I do have a big question for you guys after I make my pick. But I'm going to go to edge as well. I don't think that room is as solidified, and it's not being talked about enough. I think a great heavy hand edge player for the other side in Gabe Akis is a good route. If you're more of a DPR guy, R. Mason Thomas, or even Malachi Lawrence. But I think that of all 3 of those players that I liked, what's probably best for the Browns, in my opinion, would be a disruptor, a true disruptor. So it'd be Malachi Lawrence for me, because I believe he really has that ability to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, I like that pick. If for some reason I wasn't able to come away with Zion Young, I think he'd be a nice consolation prize for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he's in my top 5 as well. So, I think now it starts to get real interesting at 39. We have to start looking at who we think is going to drop, right? Is there a chance that Caleb Lomu drops to 39? There are some age concerns, right? Nobody really knows how old he is. He could be one of those guys that kind of surprises us on Thursday night, that he's not taken in the first round. I mean, he's a project, a little bit of a project, but I think as far as pure left tackle goes, I think he's got some real staying power at the left tackle position. So if he's there at 39, I'm definitely taking it. If not, I'm going to go to plan B, and I've got a couple of other options there that I think could really help our offensive line. If I'm going to take a guy on the right side, the guy I think I would take at 39, and I would love that this guy in Cleveland and the fans would just fall in love with him, and I've been talking about him for months, is Jennings Dunker, because he's going to be a right tackle for a little while, maybe, but he's probably eventually going to settle in at right guard. And we all know what everybody thought of Wyatt Teller here in town, especially earlier in his career. Jennings Dunker is that kind of guy. He will have that kind of cult following here in town. So if Caleb Lomu is not there at 39, I'm going with Jennings Dunker.
Okay, well, for as bad as I did on that 6 pick, guys, at 39, I took one Jennings Dunker because
Nice.
I mean, you guys have addressed more positions, but I'm thinking they really need to do something with this offensive line, and we've got these plugs in here. If they've got the option to bring in two guys like this that are going to be tone setters for the next 5 or 10 years. I'm taking that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would be really happy. Some of the fans might not like that at first, but guys that pay attention to the draft probably will. So that's where I am.
I love I love what you both said there of just kicking him into guard. I think that if you're just playing him at tackle, I have him way lower than 39. I don't know if he's athletic enough to be out there, depending on what run scheme you're in. But at guard, I just see his feet are so good, and his base is so good, and he's a mauler. It would be such a fun pick for the Browns at 39 if he is there, which I'm assuming he will be there. I think he will, but I love that pick. The question I wanted to ask you guys, would you guys entertain any Ty Simpson talk here at 39 or no?
I'm out.
No, not here. I want to build this team. I want to build this team.
I'm with you guys. I just had to ask.
It's going to be fun to watch where he does end up. I mean, Pittsburgh could panic and grab him before he ever gets to the second round. I mean, they need a quarterback, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Even if Rodgers comes back, they may need a quarterback.
Well, the guy can't play forever, right?
Right. You could argue whether he could play at all anymore. But I think if we're going to pick another quarterback in this draft, and Andrew Berry has kind of hinted that he'd like to add another young quarterback, it's probably going to be late in the draft. Would be my guess. There's plenty of guys in this draft that are going to fall that do have some upside that you can take a chance at, and realistically could end up with a long-term backup. If he beats out one of the other guys, right? So good chance we come out of this with a quarterback, but probably not until day 3.
Wholeheartedly agree with you.
I think that's the right move at this point.
I would say I think you rostered 5 quarterbacks at one point in time last year. I don't think now's the time to see what you have.
Going for whatever the record is.
We do every year.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving on to pick 70.
Yeah. You talked about how we hit more positions, Rod, in ours.
Yeah.
This is my double dip.
Okay.
I'm going back to receiver at this pick, and I'm going to go with whoever is here out of Elijah Surratt or Zachariah Branch. Ideally for me, Elijah Surratt is here. I think he's a great contested catch wide receiver. If you're talking about a prototypical X guy, played most of his snaps out wide. Really like what he would have to offer to this offense, especially because I think that he kind of just plays Cedric Tillman's role better than Cedric Tillman. And I think he would immediately go in, get snaps, be a touchdown producer, red zone producer immediately.
Yeah, I got no problem with taking 2 wide receivers in the first 4 picks. Not at all.
Other than we have really bad luck with 3rd-round wide receivers, Jake, which you probably don't remember. But
I debated it.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to take Jordan Tyson at 6, I think coming back and doubling up early with a guy who you think is probably going to be on the field as a quality number 2 like Surratt makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
for sure. Mm-hmm. Because then when Tyson does get hurt, you at least you got one guy that can play, right?
Exactly.
But I think I like the idea of doubling up on receiver, but again, I think you said it's a deep receiver draft.
It is.
So there's guys I think we can even find 6th, 7th round to be that second guy. So I want to go back on defense here myself. I just this team is that's our calling card, right? Is our defense. And we still have a few areas of need on the defense. This is such a good defensive draft, like I said. And as you mentioned earlier, Jake, the good safeties are going to disappear early. We desperately need a 3rd safety / slot guy. So I'm going to run to the podium. with my card, and I'm going to take Jalen Kilgore in the third round. I think he is the guy that's going to be our Swiss Army knife in the secondary this year. Just the piece that we're missing.
Yeah, he played great at slot corner last year too for South Carolina. I mean, there was a lot to love in his tape. I thought you were going to take my round 4 guy there for a second, Jeff. I was nervous. That was my face.
Well, maybe I'm taking a round
my guy.
4 guy. Maybe I'm taking a
Rod,
round
don't do
4
it to
guy.
me.
I just, the league is going to the Nick Emenworry multi-positional type of defensive back. And if I can't get Dylan Thieneman earlier in the draft, I think Jalen Kilgore is my consolation prize.
Great consolation prize.
Yeah, same thoughts. I took AJ Halsey, safety. I don't know. Is that your 4th round guy? I mean,
no, because I think he's going way earlier.
Is he going earlier? Okay,
I think so. Projection is around 3rd round, but I am just in love with this guy, so that's my big thing about him.
So I mean, yeah, he was. It looked like around the spot for him, so I thought it was fairly realistic. So
it is.
But if it's not him, I would look safety or or something else in that area, or defensive end, since I haven't addressed defensive end at all. So, but yeah, I think safety by pick 70 or 107 makes a lot of sense.
I think there's a world where AJ Halsey's there, and it might just be in my biased, I loved the tape mind of watching AJ Halsey, where I'm like, if I'm a team that picks in the beginning of the second that needs a safety, that's where I'm going. So, and I will be comfortable reaching on a player like that. But I do think it's a realistic pick for the Browns at 70 because there are going to be teams that want to capitalize on edge rusher receiver talent in the second round.
No. A lot of people seem to like him, so we'll see what happens. We don't know what the GMs are thinking.
True.
So. Okay, let's go on to, I guess we'll call it a wild card pick here at 107, because who knows what's going to be left at 107, or who's going to fall to 107.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did about 6 mock drafts in the last 4 hours, and this guy was always there, even though I think he's going to go a little earlier. This is where I'm going to address safety. My round 4 guy's Bud Clark. We're talking about a guy who flies around the field with TCU. I think that there's a lot to love, especially at that value in the 4th round where you can kind of just take your guys and let it happen. So Bud Clark would be my pick at 107.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I'm going to try to get my tackle, Rod.
Okay.
And I think it's somebody that's going to have to develop a little bit. But there's a couple of guys that I think could work for the Browns that I think have a shot at being there in the 4th round. The guy that obviously that I've been in love with for a long time is Austin Barber out of Florida. He gives you that left-right versatility the Browns love. I think he can anchor the left side long term. But he's going to take some time to develop there. Because I've already taken Jennings Dunker, who can play some right tackle also, I'm going to look at more of a true left tackle to take here instead. And it pains me to not draft Austin Barber here, but the Browns had Markel Bell in for a visit. He, as most people have said, is a giant human being with tons of upside, and that seems to be the kind of tackle that Andrew Berry is in love with. Just look at the guys he's brought in the last 2-3 years. So I'm going to assume that Markel Bell's probably going to fall that far just because he is such a project. But I think we can develop him over the next season or two into a starter on the left-hand side. You can't teach that kind of mass, right? So
That's right.
I'm going to go with Markel Bell as my 4th round pick.
Okay. There's so many ways the Browns could go here. I thought they would. I thought they might do something just to kind of, get under the fan's skin a little bit. So I have the Browns taking quarterback Cole Payton out of North Dakota State at 107.
Oh,
Which
Okay.
I don't know. That's probably a round where I don't know that he's going to be around a whole lot longer than that. I think the GMs know about this guy. So
you're going to put another lefty on the roster.
Why not?
I was thinking the same
Might as well get these guys used to catching a lefty.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the Browns could, with what I've done, the Browns could look to go, corner here. They could look to go, double dip at wide receiver, maybe even tight end. But I think they get their tight end later. So I thought it was too early to do that. So I don't know. A 4th round quarterback, they didn't do that last year. So
no.
So yeah.
Kind of bookended that.
Yeah. That concludes our mocks.
That was good.
Yeah. Nice job, guys.
It's nice looking that deep too. I think that there's so much love in the draft media for rounds 1 and maybe even rounds 2, but I think as football fans, sometimes we forget how important rounds 3 and 4 are to creating this roster and filling out this roster with starters.
Yeah. Well, as we saw last year, those positions can really swing the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You know that day 3 picks are a long shot, but if you can hit on those mid-round guys, man, that really changes your roster in a hurry.
Yeah, Jeremy, none of us selected Caleb Downs. Unfortunately, you're a big fan.
We're required to discuss Caleb Downs every show. Jim.
Yeah, we do talk about Caleb Downs.
He's my number 2 player in the class. So
number 2.
Yeah, he's my number 2 player in the class. So I'm a big fan of Caleb Downs. And I think that if the Browns had a bigger need at safety, it would be in play at 6. But I think that with how glaring wide receiver is, that's probably the direction that early.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we've talked a ton about Caleb Downs and the safety class, and I think Jeff has convinced me, and I think kind of almost all of Cleveland sports has kind of gone through this idea of Caleb Downs to they've kind of come off Caleb Downs. That was kind of who I think a lot of people wanted initially.
Yeah.
And it's kind of changed, and it's nothing against Caleb Downs. It's the strength of the safety class, and
right.
it's kind of the, you hate to draft just on need, but it kind of is based on need too. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Drew Aller, none of us took Drew Aller.
No, I think if Caleb Downs was there at 6, I think that would be perfect time for us to trade down. Someone's going to want to come up and get him.
That is exactly what I was thinking, Jeff. I think that the Chiefs at 9, if the Giants really are interested in coming up to 6, there's a world where I was talking to a Bengals friend of mine who was talking about the Dexter Lawrence trade, and I said, if Caleb Downs is there at pick 10, then you lost the trade, right? That's the reality.
Yeah.
And so
there's
a world where Caleb Downs is there at 10 for the Giant or for the Bengals or the Browns to select if the Giants were to trade up. I think you're right. It's a total trade down opportunity if he's there.
Yeah. Drew Aller, it's going to be fun to watch where he actually ends up. He is such an unknown coming into this draft that, some team could really fall in love with him and say, yeah, we're going to take a shot at him. And he could go 3rd round, or he could sit there like Shedeur did last year and just not find a dance partner for the longest time. It's going to be interesting.
I think my big thing with Drew Aller is the lack of production in big games is going to scare GMs away. When you look at quarterbacks and even the ones that fall, the ones that get selected in rounds 3, 4, 5 are quarterbacks that don't have traits but performed in big games. And that is not that's almost the exact opposite definition of what Drew Aller was. So.
Yeah, good point.
Right. So Jeff, we've talked about your board that you've been working on and everything. I'm just going to kind of turn this over to you and let you kind of share with everybody kind of where you are right now on your board and kind of how that works and kind of, just if you want to run through some of the players or however you want to handle that.
Yeah, so when I started putting this together, I tried to approach it a little bit differently because most people build a board based on where they see talent relative to other players at the position. I looked at this purely from the Browns' perspective. What are our needs, both in 2026 and going forward? Where do I see roster opportunities? Because that's what made last year's draft so successful. We were able to bring in guys who could play immediately because we had spots for them, right? They weren't necessarily skill position guys or, what other teams would consider high need guys. But they all had a chance to play immediately, and we got great contributions out of them. And that's why when you go back and redraft 2025, it looks like we took 4 first rounders or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
From my perspective, it's look at the roster. Where do you see immediate need and where do you see long-term need? So like when we're talking about safety, I look at it from the perspective that Ronnie Hickman was a restricted free agent. He got a second-round tender. They're probably going to overpay him a little bit this year, maybe extend him, maybe not. And then Grant Delpit is also in his final year of his contract. Okay, so are we going to extend him again? Is he going to get a third contract from the Browns? What's that going to cost us, right? So for me, that moves the safety position up in terms of priority because we don't necessarily just need an answer this year. We need an answer for the next several years. So that's why I prioritize a guy like Jalen Kilgore in the third round, right? And I could almost talk myself into, like we did with the article for Dogs by Nature, Rod, taking Dylan Thieneman with that pick at 24. There could be that much of a need at safety for us, right? If we don't answer it this year, what are we going to do next year? Okay, so as I built out my board, I took that into consideration at each position, and I really came up with a handful of positions that I felt like we needed to draft at. We've got 9 picks. I could conceivably see us using 10 or 11 picks if we do really take that third quarterback. If we look for a corner with length, which I think is a gap for us right now. A third linebacker. I like Josiah Trotter a lot as that third linebacker because, again, Quincy Williams is here for a couple of years. We need to have somebody else's depth. My board is built out that way. So for me, the receivers that I have in order, Carnell Tate, obviously if we can get him at 6, I'm all in. Denzel Boston at 24. If we end up not taking that receiver until 39, the guy I'm looking at is Chris Bell. We've talked a little bit about the ACL injury and, teams really not knowing what to expect from him. Look, he's the whole package before that ACL. He probably goes in the top 20 picks. So if he's there at 39, I'm taking him. Even if I have to wait, a month for him to play. And then if I don't end up taking a receiver until the third round, it's Ted Hurst. I think Ted Hurst is a pretty close approximation of Carnell Tate. Right. And then there's a whole bunch of other guys I like later in the draft. One guy you and I talked about today, Rod, is Jeff Caldwell out of Cincinnati. And if you're looking for a guy with size and speed as a long shot, you're throwing a dart in the 6th or 7th round. Jeff Caldwell is it, right? I mean, he like I told you earlier today, he's built like Nick Harbor and runs like Nick Harbor, but he actually came out in the draft. So why not take a shot at him, right? If I'm doubling up, that's a guy I'm going for. So I did that with each position. I'm not going to go through every single position, but for me, the receiver one's important. The tackle ones, again, if we're looking at Number 6 for a tackle, it's Monroe Freeling. If we trade down a little bit, I think we can still probably get him. Lomo or Proctor at 24. Blake Miller at 39 is one that is real popular right now. Blake Miller's from Strongsville, local kid. Yeah. Everybody would love to see him play for the Browns. Yeah. 4-year starter at right tackle. I'd be thrilled to have him on our team. I just, I'm not sure we have the luxury of taking a right tackle right there. But and I mentioned some of the other guys I already like at tackle. Defensive end, Keldrick Falk, Zion Young, Malachi Lawrence. There are guys sprinkled throughout the draft that I think could step in and be that 4th defensive end for us because we let Cam Thomas get away. I think that's a spot that's open this year, and we'll see a fair amount of snaps, right? So if it's not Zion Young, because we're really not that serious about training Myles Garrett, there's probably other guys in the draft. Patrick Payton, 4th round, 5th round, maybe. Marvin Jones Jr. out of Oklahoma. Just go watch his tape, okay? Yeah, I mean, so you can find these guys pretty much throughout the draft that could be that 4th guy if Myles is going to truly be here as a lifetime Brown. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of how I approach this, Rod. And it's going to be fun to watch on Thursday and see how many of these guys that I've got sort of lined up to fill those spots does Andrew Berry actually settle on. And it's probably going to be none, but maybe it'll be a few.
Yeah, hopefully.
At least there's a shot that he may pick somebody that one of us picked. Right. Through the first 5 rounds, or through the first 5 picks, I'll say. Yeah, definitely. So, guys, let's look at who you think. And this is hard to say. So, kind of turn this what you want. I've written down as can't miss prospects. Maybe it's just your guys who you feel really good about coming out. Because stuff happens in football. So if you just had to name, some guys, maybe not the top 10 guys in the draft that everybody knows about, but who do you feel are some of the can't miss guys in this draft, Jake?
I view can't miss guys as guys that if I'm a fan of a team and my team picked them, regardless of need, I'm walking away happy. And so I have a couple names here that are later round guys, rounds 2 through 5 probably. Unfortunately, there are some spoilers from the mock draft because I think Jeff took 2 of them. But I think that whatever team drafts D'Angelo Pons out of Indiana is just going to be a very happy team. I know there's size restrictions, but he is a feisty guy, and he's maybe the only 5'8" corner I've ever seen in my life that I would put in press man. He is that physical. I think about Dominique Orange out of Iowa State. If you're a team that's running a base 3-4 and wants a true nose, he's a guy that is going to provide immediate value for you. One of the guys that I really love as well, I'm just kind of going through my list right now. I'm not going to go too long on all of them, but I think this guy, there's more bust potential in this guy. But it's Takario Davis out of Washington. Had some injury history this past season, but he is productive on the ball when he is playing. And he has that prototypical size that we're seeing the modern corner transition to. I have 2 tackles on my list. I'm very glad that both of them didn't get talked about because I do love Markel Bell. I'm a big Markel Bell fan. I think that he is just a more athletic version of what the Browns have drafted in the past with DeJuan Jones. And I think the other tackle that I love is Cage Casey. He might play guard because of short arms, but he's a technician. His technique is really good. And I think that he's a guy that if you're talking about a day 4 pick that could be a starter impact for your team immediately, it could be Cage Casey. The one player that I'll end, I guess I want to throw out Emmanuel Pregnon, but I feel like everyone I talk to loves Emmanuel Pregnon, so I'm not special in that regard. But the one player in this class that I would like consider my favorite late round player is Caleb Proctor. I know everyone's super high on him right now because of the LSU game, but that is a disruptor at defensive tackle if we've ever seen one. He is small but mighty. He has good leverage battle. He wins consistently. He's quick off the ball. He isn't completely ran over in the run game, which is good for someone that's that size. But those are guys that, if we're avoiding the first round guys, if the Browns or the Raiders drafted, I'd be a pretty happy guy looking forward to the future with those players.
Cool. Nice list. So Jeff, it almost sounds like you guys like kind of talked and rehearsed before this, even though you hadn't met before we started.
Well, yeah, turnabout's fair play, I guess. He swiped a couple of my guys.
Your guys, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll let you talk about anybody's left that Jake didn't take from you.
Yeah, you mentioned Takario Davis. I again like the idea of us adding a corner with length. MJ Emerson is probably not going to be back, and we all understand the reasons why. I think there's 3 guys in this draft that could approximate his value for us. Takario Davis is one, Devin Moore's another, and Ephesians Price-Hawk, Davis's running mate in Washington, would be the third. All big guys that can lock down those huge receivers in Pittsburgh. So yeah, I think if any of those 3 guys is there late in the draft, I would love to see the Browns come away with one of them, just to give us some depth with some size. Who are the can't miss guys? Price-Hawk is for sure. He's a guy, I don't care who drafts him. I just want to watch him play. I mean, the guy's just a monster. You look at how he's cut. He's going to dominate the league. But another really good guard, if we're looking to add a guy in the mid rounds, would be Jalen Farmer. I think that we could plug in almost anywhere on that line. We talked a little bit about Matt Goldman out of Michigan State last week, Rod. I think another guy who could kind of play across the line. Goldman played mostly center, but if we're looking to add depth to our line later in the draft, I like these guys that have some positional versatility. So yeah, I'm looking at guys like that. There's another guy, his name's a little hard to say, Fabeshi Nwiwu, out of Oklahoma. How'd I do on that one, Jake?
I don't think I could have done better.
Yeah. I saw a bit on him. I think it was on NFL Network. I forget where, but just a fun kid, just real jovial and, just will play anywhere for you. Just loves the game of football. Right. So I think there's some guys like that we should be looking at later in the draft. And this draft is really a good draft, like we've said many times, right? Between the middle of the first round and the end of the second round, early third round, there's going to be some really, really good players in this draft. Not superstars, but really, really good players.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's take just a slightly different angle on that. I got a question from X. This is from Go Browns. It's at Browns12 fan. Who's your late round sleeper for the Browns? So, whatever you guys want to term late round. So, I guess one of those latter picks, sleepers, guys.
I would probably say Caden Curry. I think if you're talking about addressing edge, we're getting a guy that's, a good 260 pounds. He doesn't have like the height to match. He's 6'3", which is still above 50th percentile. But he's a guy that I could see playing tough-nosed, hard AFC North football for the Browns late round. That if you have injuries along that defensive line and you have to put Caden Curry in the game, you're not that upset.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see. I mentioned Marvin Jones Jr., similar kind of player. For sure, later in the draft. For me, I'm just, you guys know me well enough that I'm going to go to tight end here because I ask for a tight end every year. But if we could come away with Marlon Klein on day 3 as our sort of developmental inline tight end. He's going to take a little bit of work, but we've got tons of tight ends on our roster right now. None of them good. Other than Harold Fannin, just all those backup guys are just kind of average, right? Marlon Klein could be the complement to Harold Fannin long term for this offense, and I think he'll be available on day 3.
And if it's not him, there are some other guys.
Oh yeah, there's 3-4 other guys that I like too. Yeah. Just give me a tight end.
Yeah, just one of those large body guys that knows how to block and maybe can catch a little bit.
I love you bringing that up. That's getting an inline tight end would be phenomenal for what Monken's going to want to do.
We just got to unlock the run game, man. And especially if we're going to have less than stellar tackle play, even if we are to take, let's say we somehow ended up with Monroe Freeling in round 1. Okay, he still has an on ramp, so we're going to need to help him out with some tight end play, and I'm not really sure that the guy to do that's Jack Stoll right now.
Yeah, it feels more like a stopgap. Because you need somebody, but yeah, be a good spot to address. So, Jake, what are some of your other favorite positions in this draft that we really haven't talked about? Is there anything else? Anybody?
We lightly touched on corner because we believe that it's potentially a late round addition for the Browns.
Yeah.
But from a draft lens and not necessarily a Browns lens, I love the way this corner class shakes out. I think that there's so many value players that if the Browns wanted to take a swing at 70, they could get a really good player on the boundary. If they want to take a swing at 36, there are going to be players there that are worth it. So corner is one that I love. I think this is a top-heavy but fun linebacker class. Two of my favorite prospects in the class are C.J. Allen and Jacob Rodriguez. So big fan of the top 2 linebackers there for me. But like you said, Josiah Trotter would be a great linebacker 3 for the Browns. And there's guys down the line that you could get to as well on day 3 that could be big additions. I think the linebacker's a fun position. And this is one of my favorite guard classes. That I usually hate watching offensive line tape. I'll be honest. I try to get through it as fast as possible. But I have had so much fun watching the guards this year. From Vega Wane all the way down to round 7 and UDFAs that we'll be looking at on the Browns roster. So I think the guard class is especially special this year.
Nice. So I was going to ask you. We've touched on QB a little bit, and it seems like we're always talking quarterback with this team because it's unsettled, and we don't know if it'll ever be settled. But anyways, some years there's. You guys are going to get your quarterback in Vegas, so maybe you haven't looked a lot at the quarterback class. I don't know. Maybe
I have.
You didn't need to, but you have. So. Is there anybody or are there guys that you like or think have some potential later in the draft? If you were to go Jeff's route versus, what I did, taking somebody a little bit more mid draft like a Drew Al or Cole, something like that. If you wait a little bit later.
So the 2 names that pop out to me, and it's because for totally different reasons. Taylon Green. Is a freak athlete. Everyone wanted him to work out at receiver. He chose not to. which I love. That's what Lamar did as well. And he said, nope, I'm playing quarterback. And I love the dedication to the position, given how difficult the position is, most difficult position in sports. But when you factor in that type of athlete, and I think he has a good head on his shoulders, getting him in the right system, it's not a pick that I'd be shocked if the Rams made later on. Pair a quarterback-friendly scheme with a great player. And then the other one is Luke Altmaier. I think that's a guy that I think could be a 10-year backup, have a Josh McCown type career where he's just, he played for that team too, because he's good enough to be on a roster at all points in time. And I really do believe that with Luke Altmaier.
Yeah.
Okay. I will admit to being a Josh McCown fan.
Aren't we all? Hard not.
Anybody, yeah, how can you not like a guy who goes out there and just keeps playing with a broken leg? That's something. Yeah, I want that guy on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, guys. Well, anything we didn't cover, Jeff? Anything we should be talking about before we shove off and come back together again after the draft?
Yeah. No, it's just I can't wait to start unwrapping the presents, Rod.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Jeff and I may be doing kind of a post-draft pod on Saturday. We'll keep you guys updated on that. So that would happen. That would happen when the draft wraps up. I think obviously it's after the last pick, but I think that's 7 o'clock-ish, somewhere around in that area.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah.
I tried to figure it out today. So yeah. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do that, but we'll keep you guys posted. So Jake, it's been great, man. It's been great talking to you. Great seeing you. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners, viewers with as far as the draft, the Browns, or anything else?
I want to say thank you guys for having me on. This has been so much fun. Great podcast experience. There was a little bit, like I said earlier, it was my first time on a podcast, so a lot of anxiety going into it, but I had a lot of fun. You guys, I love talking ball, and you guys love talking ball, and that's just a recipe for a great show. What I would leave this podcast with is just looking at every Browns fan and saying, don't worry. I think that you are entering this draft with the idea to address Daniel Jeremiah's big 3, which is the big 3 Ps of play caller, protection, and playmakers. And we are going to be looking at next season with Todd Monken as your play caller. You're going to get a protection for whatever quarterback you tried out there, probably Shadur, and really maximize what he can do in this offense. The defense is going to be good. You'll probably draft a receiver, hopefully a large X receiver, to really get some red zone touches and establish the run game on the boundary. I wouldn't worry if I'm a Browns fan. I know it's been rough past couple of years picking high, but as a Raiders fan, I can say the future is only brighter, right? Let's get lost in our delusions for a little bit longer.
That's right. That's right, man. Other than telling a Browns fan not to worry is kind of like telling Santa not to bring the presents. So, but we'll do our best. We'll do our best, and we appreciate
We've spent our life waiting for the other shoe to drop.
That's right.
That's fair.
That's right. Fair. So, Jeff, any closing words tonight?
Just to circle back to the idea of a trade down, because we really didn't explore it all that much tonight. I would just say that I think there's probably about a 60 to 65% chance that Andrew Berry does trade down. We kind of assumed tonight that we stay put at all of our picks. The odds of him staying put at all 9 picks are like astronomical. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that he makes all 9 picks at the same spot that we have him right now. So it's really hard to project what's going to happen, not knowing what trades are available. So if by chance there's a team out there that is really desperate enough to move some 27 capital to get up to one of our picks, I think it's a great move to do it. I just want to put that out there up front. I can argue with the results and who the player they end up with, but the strategy is sound, right? The strategy is acquire more picks, position yourself to get the guy that you need next year to really be your franchise quarterback. Assuming that, like we've said, we don't have that guy on the roster now. So I'm just going to watch the draft. I'm going to enjoy it. We're going to take it as a whole when we look at it on Saturday. We're not going to jump to any conclusions based on early picks because there are a lot of different ways that it can go. So we'll try to digest all of that on Saturday night and look at how we think things are going to shape up for this football season.
That's right. Okay. Well, thanks to Jake for joining us tonight. You did a great job on your first
good job,
podcast,
Jake.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody who interacted with us through either X or joining in the chat here. Thanks to everybody who watched and listened. And let's have a great draft. And we hope to see you guys on Saturday and future shows. So this has been the Browns Blitz. We thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.